Hi, this is a campaign update for Mike for Spokane. It's for the week of June 14th, 2015, the week ahead. When I started the campaign in June, there was 4 priorities. The first one was this letter to the governor and the legislature about taxing us more. They've agreed to drop that permanently, so that issue I won't bring up anymore. It's gone. The mandatory sick leave, though, seems to be something the City Council wants to move forward with. My position is that is tyranny. You can't let government decide for private business and citizens. Some things are within their control and their control alone. So I'm adamantly against this. There's a parade of people that are coming up to the City Council and saying how morally and they're going to decide for other people. They know what other people need to do for their employees, and that is not how our government works. That is a huge problem, and if that moves forward, that's just another reason not to locate your business in Spokane. So I'm adamantly against the mandatory sick leave, and there'll be more on that in the weeks to come. The sanctuary city thing that was passed into law back last year, growing momentum against that. I'm against this whole issue that the police cannot ask the questions that they need to ask to protect our interests. If someone is here illegally, that's something we should be able to know. We don't want to rent to people, or I'm not saying you can't rent to people, but we should know if they're a citizen or not, and the police should be able to ask. So there's a big initiative out to reverse that city ordinance or regulation and free our law enforcement to protect us the best way they know how. A little more controversial issue was the car and the bicycle accident from a year ago in the Valley. I have contacted the Valley mayor, city manager, didn't return their phone call. I just spoke to a city council person who wasn't sure if the police investigation report would ever be released. The city attorney called me last week and basically said they see nothing, they know nothing. It's a problem for me. If there's something going on where citizens are questioning law enforcement, and the city council and the mayor and the proxies of the government are pleading, I don't know, well then I'm not so sure that we have the right process in government. When I went to the city of Spokane, who did the investigation, they're basically telling me that they couldn't release the stuff, because they could not release the independent investigation because they didn't have an ombudsman. And that makes no sense to me. This is a completed investigation, they should release it. It gets further complicated because the chairman of the Ombudsman Council or committee that was supposed to select the ombudsman turns out to be the woman who is white, represented to be black, and is making national news. It's almost the wrong kind of emphasis on something like this. If I do find that there's an issue with law enforcement, the process, I shouldn't have to go to law enforcement to get this information if it's the official record. Now, over the weekend, the sheriff, Ozzy Konetsovich, has reached out to me and said he will make the investigative reports available to me. So on Monday, I'm going to see him, or at least call him, and arrange to look at it. So I appreciate the sheriff making this information available. Now, there are some factions that are saying that this group, and possibly myself, are trying to run the sheriff down, or we're trying to make him look bad. And that is not the case at all. It's I don't believe the sheriff has to defend himself with me. And I'm not asserting any wrongdoing or negligence here. There are people asserting that. They did it in front of the city council, and they did it in front of the Valley Council, and their elected leaders were not responsive. That's what I have a problem with. What I have a problem with is whatever the accident report says, that's what we should be able to read. Now, there are supposed to be these 4 witnesses that may not have seen it. People are saying that they're not available, but I've talked to a Tim Vile, a Corey Milligan. I've talked to Tim Vile. There's supposed to be a Corey Milligan, a Jordan Gish, and a Michael Bagley. These are supposed to be witnesses at the event where this kid was run over. How credible they are, I'm not representing. People have alleged in front of both city councils that these people contradict the official findings. However, the official findings have not been made public. And I am simply wanting to see the official record, and I want to look at the findings, which, I'm not passing judgment there, but I want to make sure the process is such that people can get this information. Some people, they have a problem asking law enforcement about information about law enforcement. That's really the ombudsman or the city council, your elected representatives. If you want to get information about them, you go to the clerk's office and you get that information. It should flow. It hasn't been flowing, so I'm looking at the process. I'm not running the sheriff down. I'm not blaming any police officer. But there's a way we conduct business in Spokane that's coming. It's very questionable. This whole issue with the people responsible for the oversight being involved with this misleading the community is an issue. So just to be aware that that's all in the works. I don't know if this controversy is going to die down any soon. The whole woman want to be a white woman want to be a black woman is kind of immaterial here in Spokane. There's more important things. On that note, though, law enforcement, the sheriff is going to have a town hall meeting here in the weeks to come. I think it's going to be on June 29th, 6:30 to 9:30 at Central Valley. Now, he's going to talk about local safety and security issues, and so that's important to all of us. And whether you support the sheriff or don't support the sheriff, he is the sheriff, and we should be listening to him. So if he's going to interact with the community, and maybe this issue with the volleyballs and the police car bicycle accident may come up, it may not. The official notice says they're looking at homegrown terrorism, and they're also looking at white supremacy groups. Now, on that point, I've lived here a long time, and I've never really come across any white supremacists, with the exception that when I was maybe in high school or thereafter, I was at the bus station, and the guy approached me about, white people have to take care to defend themselves and this and that. And it was the only time I really had anybody was overtly white supremacist. I ended up getting on the bus and never saw the guy again, and I just don't think there's that kind of problem here. The region does have a reputation of being liberty-oriented people. To call them homegrown terrorists, I don't know. I don't think we have a homegrown terrorist problem here, but I'm sure there are people that, it's law enforcement's job to look at all of us, so I don't take that away from them. He's also talking about sophisticated IEDs. These are bombs that can be planted in our neighborhood. We need to be thinking about that kind of stuff. Gangs in the neighborhood, we need to be thinking about that kind of stuff. So anyway, this town hall is on June 29th, 6:30 to 9 at Central Valley High School. I encourage everyone to attend, the city and the valley. This is anyone in the county. This is our responsibility and what law enforcement is doing and how we can help. So I encourage you to go to this town hall. Now, there's a couple other things on the mic for Spokane I can't get into now because the video is getting a little bit long, but there's this whole vacating a property and these sweet public-private deals that happen in Spokane have been happening for a long time. That's still an issue for me, and I'll address that again in the weeks to come. And then also, I've been approached for a bunch of independent surveys and questionnaires about my political views. Got a lot of people calling me about abortion and right to life. I got Planned Parenthood, NARAL, We Believe, We Vote. These people that take that kind of stuff seriously. I will answer all the questions that I already did, and I'll probably share, comments on that particular topic in another video, but that is not the mayor's job. The mayor's job is to run the city and its services. These constitutional issues it's a different forum. You don't really want your mayor bogged down in that stuff. I have no problem sharing my personal beliefs, and I will do that, but you're not hiring you're not voting for a mayor to come in and tell you how to believe on the subject of abortion and right to life. That is a whole thing, a whole argument that's been going on for 40, 50, however long since Roe versus Wade. And I, as mayor, am not claiming I'm going to resolve everyone's differences there. I'm trying to tell these people this is not what the mayor should be focusing on. He should be focused on the utilities, the law enforcement, the safety, all the basic services of government, and to ensure that we get good value for those dollars. So there's my campaign update for the week of June 14th. Planning to meet the sheriff tomorrow on the bicycle car accident. Should get a look at that report, match up the incidents and that, and then we can talk a little bit about the process of how we get information about things that happen when they involve the police department. I feel the mayors and the city council people are elected representatives. It's their job to make sure that that's happening right, but when they cannot weigh in one way or another, I feel we may have a fall down in the process, and I want to encourage my city elected leaders to take their responsibilities seriously in these matters. Thank you for your time.